Alright, what is going on, you guys? This is your boy, the Death Smasher, and welcome back to yet another Bleach Brave Souls video. And we are here with the final 2023 video. So I wish to you all a very happy New Year's. I've been working my butt off just to get these showcases out for the characters. But we're going to keep on going because it doesn't stop here. After this video, I will start working on the top 10 attributes. Once again, do Who is Better videos of Yhwach and White and the new Ichigo with Quilge. There's just gonna be a lot of content lined up to do, so I hope you guys do look forward to that. Don't forget to hit that bell notification and subscribe to the channel, otherwise your chair will be smashed. But anywho, limit break request, this is where we're gonna be basically talking about today. It got revealed as soon as the news of the banner for these 1000-year blower characters dropped, and it's quite particular this time. This is going to be a New Year's typical limit break request, where you're going to be able to get a lot more Transcendence points by going up to stage 25. Normally, the maximum was stage 20, and you might want to motivate yourself to go to stage 25 this time around, right? Anywho, let's just go ahead and get right into the rules. I already broke this down on my Before You Summon video, but I'm going to break it down again. Slot 1, the enemies are going to be hollows, and they are going to be hard typing. However, here's the particular part. You can only use mind characters. This is the very first ever limit break request where they restrict to you an attribute for you to use. So, yeah, first ever of its time. Let's hope it doesn't happen ever again, because let's say we do get one where it's power only, we're basically dead, because there's just no good characters besides 8th Anniversary Ichigo, Yama, and, yeah, like, I know Nelia was a boosted unit before, but she wasn't that good. But, yeah, going back on topic, mind attribute only, melee damage times 2, killer effect times 5, and then there's freeze puddles. Slot 2, enemies are going to be Soul Reaper, mind at that, part damage times 2, melee damage times 2, killer effect times 5, and the status element puddles are also freeze. Slot 3, there are no rules, but the enemies are going to be no affiliation, technique, and paralysis. And now, I'm going to highlight to you guys who are the best units for slot 1, 2, and 3. It's literally these three characters. Yhwach for slot 1, 1000-year blower True Shikai Ichigo for slot 2, and 8th Anniversary Ichigo for slot 3. But because slot 3 has no rules, you don't even need to use 8th Anniversary Ichigo, and you can use the best unit whom you have at your disposal, even a character that has Rampage, which is going to be quite beneficial, and I'm going to highlight who you can use over 8th Anniversary Ichigo. But first, we need to talk about slot 1 characters first. So Yhwach, he's going to be the best character to use as a whole. If you guys have done 25 steps and have never pulled him, I recommend picking him up from the pity ticket right now. He's just absolutely a god. He's one of the best characters that we have in the game for mind, numero uno at that. And yeah, he's going to have killer once again, but more importantly, going to have really high cooldowns, has the defeated bonus effect of having 20% melee damage, 40% berserker, a devastation of 60%, and an extra soul bomb. This is broken because this is going to change a lot, and potentially we can actually clear up to 40 stages by using Yhwach, Ichigo, and someone else for slot 3. And I think it's possible this time around because this guy has a mini rampage already with the defeated bonus, but besides that does have long stride with sprint plus 2, mind attribute strong attack recharge of 20%, broken skill because it means that by the time you are in stage 4, you will already have your cooldowns back for Yhwach. So easily the must run of slot 1. Has a base berserker of 40% with a good soul bomb of devastation 60. Keep in mind, once you do get the defeated bonus up, it does get up to 120%, so it's going to be quite a strong soul bomb. Is immune to freeze, and of course has Havoc, Frenzy plus 2, weakened defense as well in base, the bow tear plus 5 seconds, and poise, meaning that this guy cannot get staggered. But you do want to be careful when using this character because you cannot recover stamina at all. He doesn't have stamina recovery, he doesn't have drain, so you want to keep that in mind if you're going to go with a full stamina damage boost build, which, spoiler alert, if you want to do your best here, you want to do that. I'm going to highlight the builds later on. But yeah, easily the best slot 1 unit is going to be Yhwach, and you want to use him. But let's say I never pulled Yhwach. Who are going to be my best units to use? Now, considering this is going to be mainly mind restricted, you want to use mind units only. And what about holo killers, right? Well, for melee holo killers, there are no good units. None. You're not using Swimsuit Nelio. No way. Hell no. She's awful. You're not using Shinji. His DPS is too outdated now. Yushiro. No, you're not using any of these characters. There's no good units for melee holo right now. But if we talk about range characters, we do have a good unit to use here, and that is the Halloween Nini. Now, this character, she's a fraud in base, but once you get the gauge active, you're going to be cooking with this character. She has a similar kit to Yhwach, just that she doesn't have the 960 into homing vortex, which is quite important, but still, once you get the gauge active, she gains an additional frenzy +1, has a 100% berserker, does have double status elements, and of course, well, sadly isn't immune in this type of limit break request because the puddles are free, so you can get screwed over, but does have long stride and spur +1, has, well, frenzy +1 as base, havoc of 20%, full stamina damage boost with 40% berserker, but more importantly, most of the stuff that she gets is from the gauge because she does have the start gauge effect, spiritual pressure boost of 50%, and has the gauge rampage skill, which is going to help you build up the gauge and being able to activate it consistently. And in limit break requests, she's going to be able to make good use out of this skill right here. So if you do not have Yhwach, Nini is a must run, although she'll be a lot slower than Yhwach because normally these types of gauge characters, when you activate it, you do get the cooldowns of the strong attacks reduced by a good 30% and be able to use them by that time. And considering you're not going to be using Yhwach for the cooldown reduction when moving in between maps, you are going to notice a bit of a slowdown for when it comes to using this character right here. Now, what about off-killer characters? You can still use mind characters, but in this kind of case in particular, you want to prioritize melee characters. So let's just go ahead and filter that out real quick and see who we can use for melee. Yeah, Light. He is going to be one of the better alternatives to use if you do not have either Yhwach or Nini, because of this guy being able to inflict status elements non-stop, having 80% SP boost, double status elements of drain and laceration, also has freaking 4 flash steps, and is immune to freeze, so you don't even have to worry about that. The kit is also good. He has the suction vortex into lunge, full screen lunge, and then the vacuum into explosion. You're going to be able to inflict status elements non-stop and do a crap ton of damage. And his soul bomb is, fun enough, better than Yhwach still, because he does have bombardment with weakened defense. Keep in mind he still has the 80% SP boost, so that's going to factor in, and also has the mind attribute character special move damage of 30%, so White is going to be a great unit to use here. He also has frenzy +2 with havoc, so yeah, use him. If you guys have him 5/5, thanks to poll selection, there's no better time than now to use him. What other mind characters can we use here? Well, believe it or not, we have the Mind Mirror that can actually be somewhat useful. He does have the 80% SP boost. Keep in mind, he will not have killer, but like, we're just going for characters that can actually help you clear. His kit is good. He has a suction vortex beam on the SA2, and then the SA3 is full screen. I only recommend using this character if you have him max transcended, but his multipliers are pretty good since he has frenzy +1 with 40% berserker, an additional full stamina only, increased strong attack damage of 40%, also has the AoE skill of being able to paralyze, poison, meaning that you can get the 80% SP boost out consistently, and also has guard break, so you can use this character just fine. It's just that he does have increased status element chance, so getting the SP boost to proc can be sometimes RNG heavy, but this is a very solid character to use. If you have him 5/5, then now's the time to use them. Let's see, what other characters can we actually make good usage out of? Well, Grimmjow can actually work out, believe it or not, although, let's just say that his strong attacks aren't really what's going to be at best, but you can inflict status elements non-stop with this character at a crazy rate, because he does have, pretty much all Vortex-esque attacks, now that I think about it. He has, hold on, 35% strong attack damage already, thanks to the skill, Havoc of 20%, has Frenzy with increased status element chance against heart attribute enemies. You do an extra 40% damage when, you know, inflicting status elements, and extra damage to drain enemies, and of course 80% SP boost. This is going to be quite a strong character to use. Even though the kit isn't going to be too exceptionally amazing, he is something that you can actually make use of and be okay. I think you can kind of get to the high stages It's going to be a bit easier to inflict status summons with this character compared to Miri, but the kit isn't going to be the strong point, unfortunately. So use this character in mind of that. No pun intended. And then who else? Well, I guess you can make a solid use out of this Ikkaku. However, he does not inflict status summons, so do not expect crazy damage, but he does have 30% damage to enemies not afflicted by an element. A decent kit. I think he has a 570 lunge beam on SA2, full screen SA3, long stride as well, so you don't even need to give him long stride via the bonus abilities. Frenzy +2, how much Berserker? 60% Berserker, yeah, that's pretty decent. You can use them, but keep in mind you're not going to be able to inflict status omens as often, so yeah, in this kind of case, you're not going to have a good time compared to the likes of Miri or Grimjow. The next character that you can use would pretty much be this Mind Lisa right here. Now, her kit has definitely aged out, but her skill set definitely hasn't, because she does have Frenzy +1 with 40% Berserker, 20% full stamina damage boost, was it? Oh no, it was this right here. Mind Attribute character strong attack damage, 80% SP boost, and increased status omen chance against heart attribute enemies. If you guys saw how Chojuro was effective in Limit Break Request the last round, this character will pretty much play exactly like Chojuro and do the same, if not slightly less. She is a viable option to use, so if you guys don't have any other better mind character to use, you can use her just fine, just that she's not going to be the strongest character to use anymore. And then the last character that I can somewhat recommend, but not really, because you may as well use all the other mind characters that I've listed out, would pretty much be this Yama if you have no other better alternative, just because he does so much damage. He's going to be doing the same damage output as Tensa and Rengiku, just without the Havoc, because he does have Frenzy +1, 60% Berserker, and 100% damage to enemies not afflicted by an ailment. So really strong multipliers. You can make good usage out of this character. He has the same kit as 7th Anniversary Uryu, just that, you know, there's no, what was it? The thing that Nini has, I just can't remember. The gauge, there we go. There's no gauge effect, there's no status elements, just that, and no Havoc. So pretty much your last option that you want to use for slot 1. And that's about it for slot 1. Now let's move on to slot 2. Easily the character that you want to use for slot 2, once again, has to be Ichigo. This guy's going to be ridiculous. He has killer, he has a lot of DPS potential. That third strong attack of his is pretty damn broken. It's a 1170, and once you decide to fully charge it up, which you pretty much want to do that once you're fighting against the stronger mobs and you're at a far distance to the point that they don't attack you, that's when you want to do the second stage of the third strong attack. But like, he has the beam like Unohana, a lunge which is 960 to 1020, like it's so stupid, man. And he has long stride with sprint +2. It's crazy. He even has poise, cannot get staggered. However, keep in mind, this guy cannot also heal like Yhwach. So there's no drain, no stamina recovery. So once you get hit, goodbye. You might as well want to restart the run if you want to get a better score. But like, he's immune, Frenzy +2, Havoc of 20%. Will be able to inflict status elements non-stop compared to Yhwach. And when you do that, you gain 60% damage to lacerated enemies and 40% damage to weakened enemies. And believe it or not, he is going to be the nuking character. He has bombardment. So with Yhwach, considering you're going to be able to get the hit bonus, you want to mainly nuke with this character. Like, you can actually nuke 2 stages. Or you can basically, I don't know, do, just as an example, the further stages. Let's say you do the 3rd stage again, but in a much higher difficulty. You nuke that with Yhwach. Keep in mind, his Soul Bomb is still going to be good with the 120% devastation and weakened defense. You can do that, and then the next stage you can nuke with Ichigo. And then you just do whatever you want with slot 3. We'll see how it is from there once the Limit Break Request drops, but like, he's going to be the nuker, and he's going to be really damn good for it. So, yeah. Nothing to say about this. This is going to be the best character to use for slot 2. But let's say I do not have this 1000-year blower Ichigo. Who are going to be my best options? Quilge. Quilge is going to be your best option if you do not have this Ichigo. He is still a king in Limit Break Request, and all that it requires is for the rules to have heart, melee, and that's it. You can use this character and not even have to worry about the killer effect, because this guy was better than Parasol Bruno for a Limit Break Request stage. So, if you guys have him at Transcended, or 2-5, you can use him. But because I have Ichigo 2-5, I'm going to be using Ichigo, and Spoiler alert, I'm going to be using Quilge for slot 3. I'm going to go into more details about that later. But anywho, the kit is the same as Yhwach, if not slightly better, because he has the beam on the SA1 and has a rampage skill. So yeah, frenzy +2, damage to drained enemies of 40%, 80% SP boost, 20% full stamina damage boost. Has the same skill as Yhwach, so by the time you get to stage 5, you will already have your strong attacks back with this character. And then yeah, the rampage skill, it's just going to be stupidly important, because once you have killed 50 enemies, you just gain 100% pure damage to everything. It doesn't even matter. And he has a godly kit, just that he is going to be slower than Ichigo, so you want to give him long stride. So yeah, and his soul bomb is also going to be a lot weaker to that of Ichigo. He is immune to freeze, so you don't even have to worry about using him in slot 2. So yeah, this is gonna be your perfect replacement if you do not have the new Ichigo. Okay, but what other characters can we use for heart? So let's just go ahead and filter out for melee now, right? Okay, wait, no, it's already filtered out. Okay, what about Soul Reaper killers? None. Don't use any heart melee Soul Reaper killers besides this character. You're not gonna get it done. But what about ranged Soul Reaper killers? Do we have something that we can actually make use out of? Yeah, we do. This Noelle right here. Now, she's gonna be slower than both Ichigo and Quilge, but she's basically Power 1000 Year Blower Yamamoto with the 18% shave. That's all I can really state. So if you guys know how Yamamoto works, you guys can pretty much get where I'm coming from, because she does have Frenzy +1, unfortunately, with 80% SP boost, Berserker 40%. She randomly picked up follow-up, and honestly, that could have been replaced with increased status summon chance. Does have damage to weaken and drained enemies of +40% with bombardment and a weakened defense. That's why she's basically a mini Yamamoto. Only difference is that instead of having the 3k length beam, she has the 18% shave, which isn't that good, but you can make a solid use out of this character. If you guys have her 5/5 like Bleach Tsurugi, yeah, she's gonna be an effective character to use in that kind of case, should you not have the new Ichigo. Who else can we use? Well, there is another option, but only at Max Transcendence, 6th anniversary Aizen. Now, he does not have the melee damage multiplier, but like, he's still gonna be a solid character. He has the godly kit, Frenzy +2 with only a full stamina damage boost of 20%. He is a bit weaker on that kind of note, but he's gonna be still okay. He's gonna be able to do respectable damage nonetheless. It's gonna be the 960 that is gonna be carrying this character a lot with how much damage it can do. Yeah, he's gonna be another good alternative, just not the craziest one to use. Then, let's just go back on the topic of heart melee characters. Let's see who we can actually make good usage out of. Ichigo, he's gonna be alright. This Concord Ichigo right here, just that you will not be able to inflict status elements. You will have a bit of a hard time just trying to kill the harder bosses. I have him Max Transcended, and he isn't all that cut out for what he is meant to be. So, like, he's pretty much a last resort. Yoruichi is going to be quite decent to use with the Frenzy +1, 40% Berserk. Wait, no, she has 60% strong attack damage, no? With 80% SP boost, increased status summon chance. She's going to be a good alternative to use if you do not have any of the other better characters. Oh wait, no, there's also Parasol Bruno, who is going to be an exceptional character to use if you do not have Ichigo, if you do not have Quilge, or if you do not have Halloween Noelle. Now, this character is a gauge character, just like Nini, but is a bit better in that kind of sense because he does gain the additional cooldown reduction once you activate it, and in base is actually a lot better than Nini because Frenzy +2, 40% Berserker. He just doesn't have the Gauge Rampage skill, but pretty much has the same effects as Nini, such as being able to have the 50% SP boost and having the Start Gauge and 100% Berserker. This guy's actually going to be better than Nini to use, although they're different characters, but like, he's a solid character to use. If you guys have a Max Transcended, yeah, he's gonna be good. That being said, you can use any melee Soul Reaper killer you guys want for slot 2, besides that. And who are gonna be the other alternatives to use if I don't have any of these other heart characters? Well, let's see the list of melee Soul Reaper killers, shall we? Yeah. What do we have? Oh, looky here. Yachiru Unohana. She's gonna be fantastic! She has Rampage, and guess what? She will share the same stuff as Quilge. So if you guys really want to, you can run Retsu slot 2, and run Quilge slot 3. You guys can get away with doing so, and this character will still be broken. Like, just having 80% SP boost, Frenzy +2, freaking Rampage with 20% strong attack damage and full stamina damage boost of 20%. Even has the trap mechanic, meaning that you're going to fuck over the harder bosses with that strong attack as a whole, and has the 1170 like Ichigo. Just no 2-stage charged attack, but it's still a broken strong attack nonetheless, and she's immune. So Ratsu is going to be another fantastic alternative if you do not have Ichigo. And then who else? Once again, White is going to be a good character to use. You can use Ichibei if you guys want to, although he's going to have the same problems as Nini, where he's a fraud in base, but once you get the gauge active, he's going to be better. That being said, he does at least have the cooldowns. Zafuitoshi can actually be somewhat usable. Like, he's not going to be a bad character. Kenny can also be quite good. He does have Frenzy +2 with 40% strong attack damage at full stam. Tensa's somewhat usable. He doesn't inflict status ailments, but he, in that kind of sense, is better than the likes of 1000 Year Blow Ichigo because he has more DPS than him. Frenzy +1 with 60% Berserker and 100% pure damage just scales a lot higher compared to just Frenzy +2 with 100% pure damage. And that's pretty much about it. Those are the best characters that I can recommend for slot 2. Now it's time to move on to slot 3, and this is where I need to explain to y'all. The usage of Quilge in slot 3 is going to be quite fundamental here. He's more than likely going to be better than 8th Anniversary Ichigo, despite not having typing advantage and despite not having killer. Because, hear me out, okay? For starters, like I said before, he's a broken character. He has Frenzy +2, 80% SP boost, and has the Rampage skill. That's all you guys really need to know. But most importantly, did you guys know that he's buffing your 1000 Year Blower Ichigo? So let's say you have 1000 Year Blower Ichigo for slot 2. Having this guy in your box is still detrimental because this right here. This will mean once you get to stage 5, Ichigo is going to have all of his strong attacks back. Once you get to stage 6, same fucking thing with Quilge. Quilge is just OP. So yeah, that's why he's the best unit to use. He's just going to be buffing Ichigo with the cooldowns. He'll be able to use the strong attacks at all times. Quilge is going to be able to use the strong attacks at all times. So like, your best team at the end of the day is not Yhwach, Ichigo, and Ichigo. It's Yhwach, Ichigo, and Quilge. That's what you want to use for Limit Break requests if you have the units. And it's stupid, man. Like, it's ridiculous. And he has a high DPS, good kit. Just that you need to be careful because the status element puddles are going to be paralysis, meaning that you will get screwed over if you're not careful when it comes to using this character. But he has a godly kit, so you're going to be safe for when it comes to using the strong attacks. He's going to be fine. I used him in a Limit Break request where I replaced Bruno with him, and I did good. I barely got paralyzed. But yeah, that's the best unit to use for slot 3. But yeah, besides that, the one thing that I can say, any character can work as long as it's not a speed character. Sadly, Yachiru is not going to be too effective because she'll have typing disadvantage, meaning that she's going to do a lot less damage in that kind of sense. So in this kind of case, you can pretty much use whomever. If you guys have Ichibei, you can use him. If you have White, you can use him. If you have, who else? Bruno, you can use him. Oh, let me remove the melee filter. Yeah, now we have a lot more options. You can even use Asna if you really want to do. Funny enough, Asna is going to benefit from the Mind Recharge, but his kit isn't going to be too good for when it comes to killing off the harder bosses, so I don't really recommend the usage out of this character right here. Nini's still going to be good, and Noah's still going to be quite okay. 8th Annie Ichigo, again, he's going to be the more ideal unit, even though he's going to be slower because of the kit, but does have Poise Break, which is going to be quite fundamental. And yeah, those are going to be your options. Even Quincy Ichigo is going to be good to use, funny enough, but keep in mind, you will not be able to get the status elements procced often because enemies are not speed, they're tech. So there's that. And yeah, that's all. That is pretty much the best characters I can point out to you guys. Now, let's just go ahead and talk about the setups. Alright? Now, how you want to build the characters? You want to have cooldown reduction links with SID or FSD. They both work. But anywho, in my case, here's how I have Yhwach built up. This is going to be my primal setup, okay? I'm running him with Tensa, Zombie Toshiro, and Shinji. Now, if you do not have Shinji, you can use this in common chat, but like, the more cooldown reduction you have, the better. But if you're gonna look for a link that has more DPS, I don't recommend the usage of minus 10% cooldowns unless your character in base has already 14% like Yhwach, and you can get away with doing so in this kind of sense. But besides that, Senkamen Chad is always going to be the optimal ones, and any of the 14% links with 16% damage as a whole, or even the Zombie Toshiro, Mugetsu link, or Hime link that have full stamina only increase strong attack damage to 20% with 12% cooldown reduction. That's what you want to mainly use. And bonus abilities, let's say the units already have long stride. In this kind of case, both Ichigo and Yhwach do. You want to give them SP and full stamina damage boost. Always. You don't even need to give them weakened defense because they're going to be nuking hard on their soul bombs anyways. So those are going to be the nukers to use still. And the accessories, if you have killer, you want to run the 50% SP item. So in this case, Yhwach has the Kamari and the pill. But run the killer sticker rather than the Katakoran Alpha because you're just going to be able to do a lot more damage with that. Ichigo, I'm going to be doing the same thing, although I'm going to change the setup a bit. The accessories are going to be the same as Yhwach, like I mentioned before, but in the case of a character not having long stride, I would actually go out of my way to give the character full stamina damage boost and long stride, and if the unit doesn't have the killer sticker, I'll give them the 20% strong attack damage on. Now, I'm not going to be using 8th anniversary Ichigo, and rather that, I'm going to be using Quilge. Just to give you guys an example, right now he's not set up, but I'm going to be going for the double links and try to get away with it. Of course, I'm not going to be using the killer sticker, but let's say I want to build up both Quilge and Ichigo for limit break request. Here's how the setup is going to look like. This is how I have the characters set up for limit break request. Again, killer sticker, pill, and T set, and I have Mugetsu and Uryu, who are both 5/5, 500 SP, level 10 SP, with the SP bonus ability, and Chad, that is pretty much 1/5, level 10 SP, SP bonus ability added on him. And then for Quilge, I pretty much have different links this time around, but yeah. Quincy Cross, Pill, and Cape Fastener, and then I have Memories of Nobody Ichigo, level 10 SP, SP bonus ability, and then same thing for the Stark right here, although, keep in mind, less cooldown reduction, and then Toshiro also less cooldown reduction, but I have a Max Transcended 500 SP, SP bonus ability. But look at the cooldowns. Quilge already has an innate 14% cooldown reduction, and I have 48%, so I'm perfectly fine for when it comes to getting my strong attacks back added on top of the skill. In Ichigo's case, because he doesn't have 14%, guess what? I share a similar reduced strong attack cooldown and still get most of my strong attacks back. So in this kind of case, for Quilge, it works, but for characters that don't have 14%, it's gonna be, you know, affecting the cooldowns. So, yeah. And look at the SP counts. Ichigo has 5,964 SP, while Quilge has 5,234. Why does Quilge have less SP than Ichigo? Well, simply put, he has full stamina damage boost and long stride, whereas Ichigo has full stamina damage boost and SP. Quilge needs long stride. He doesn't have long stride built into his base kit, so if you want him to be able to zoom across the battlefield, once you're done with the enemies, you need to be able to give him that. So again, Yhwach and Ichigo, because they already have long stride, I give him SP and full stamina damage boost. Quilge doesn't have it, I have to pretty much do the opposite, give him full stamina damage boost and long stride. And you want to do that for any character that doesn't have long stride. Full stamina damage boost and long stride. That's going to help you out in the long run for when it comes to clearing fast. But if a character already has that, well, SP and full stamina damage boost. That's how you want to build up the characters. And this is going to be my team for limit break request. Only difference is that I have the killer sticker over this. So, yeah. Oh, and if you guys are curious about Yhwach's cooldown reduction rate, well, here you guys go. I have, yeah, 50%. So, yeah, it's slightly higher by 2%, but, like, it's still there. If you guys have any more questions in regards to limit break request, just let me know. I do plan to answer them in the comments section, although it will be overcrowded, I know. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have enjoyed it, don't forget to smash that like button, share this video with your friends and family, subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already, and hit the bell notification so that way you guys are up to date with my most recent videos. This has been your boy, the Death Smasher, and I wish you all a happy New Year's. See you guys in 2024. Bye, peace out, sayonara, ciao ciao.